All right, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Let's get started. All right, it's the last week before Godotcon Boston. I'm going to be heading out there Sunday morning. So there aren't going to be any streams next week. So let's do what we can this week. Get some work done. Actually, there will be some streams next week. But not during the first half, because I don't come back until like Wednesday. We'll see. We'll see how much energy I have when I get back. But anyway, that's next week. Let's work on this week. So we did a lot last week regarding our selection overlay. I'm pretty happy with it. There's definitely some auto tiling rules about drawing specific things I don't like, but they're minor. Hey, Rhiannon Journey, how's it going? Happy Tuesday. Hope you had a good weekend. So now it's pretty reasonable, the stuff we can do. You're going good. Have some Bezos bucks. Better you have them than him. Thank you. I agree. Let's take Bezos bucks. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. The 3 months. Get that nice silver sub badge. So, I believe our main issue currently are our door selection problems. So like we can do selections really easily. Our selection overlay is pretty good. I don't love all of the drawing. Like I like this. Problem is if you go one layer down and you do the same thing, you only see this. So there's some issues there, but the bigger issue is the way doors are failing. So when you partially select a door, if you fully select the door, everything is fine for some reason. Which is interesting. It's interesting that when you fully select a door, there are no problems. And the problem only comes if you partially select a door or you select the wall next to a door. Kind of interesting. If you just select this section of door, it isn't a problem, which is also interesting. So last week we figured out why this was happening. And it has to do with a section of our auto tiling code. So we're going to dig through that. So let's get into that. So the problem is, and this took way longer to figure out than I'm comfortable to admit, which is that we have this door section. During this initial part of the auto tiler, when we identify a door layer, we work through all these processes and we figure out characteristics of the door. Is it a single door? Is it a double door? Is it a triple door? What axis is it on? Is it like going along the x-axis or is it going along the y-axis? We figure out those characteristics of the door at this point. And the problem is, we identify all of these characteristics of a door, and we even identify a few sections that should cause the door to be invalid. The problem is, we aren't capturing all the cases. So occasionally the door, when we hit those weird cases of like partial selections and stuff, we actually end up going through this whole series of like else ifs. We go through all of these conditionals and we end up just passing through the default door tile. Door tile evaluates to default. You can see, well, you could see But in the output, we were getting a lot of those. Yeah, you can see all those here on the left. We were being knocked for these default tiles. So what we need to do is we need to close up these gaps. So what are my thoughts? So an interesting case to me is the fact that this works when all of the door has been selected, including the walls next to it. So there's something going wrong with this check, but only when we have this conflicting selection thing. So let's just go through this line by line and try to understand where that might where we might see if we're doing some like direct, if we're doing some logical comparison of block forms, that might happen. If we're doing bitwise comparisons, that really shouldn't cause any kind of problem. Like anywhere where we're evaluating individual bits in the bit flag, that should be resistant to that sort of thing because we're anding the form that we're trying to check against. That should not cause a problem, but there are probably some other cases where we're doing maybe a logical comparison. So none of this stuff should be the problem. I need a shorthand for this, where we do a containment check to see if we can safely get an index. We should probably just do a try get, or we should do a get or default. The only reason I don't have that on the buffer itself is it would involve casting the span all the time, and I do not want to do that. But we still need something. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm tired today. I had my coffee. Probably didn't get enough sleep. So when we say new door.tile, we end up getting this default door. And then the problem is, under certain circumstances, we're passing through these whole set of conditionals, and we're never altering that. And that's what we're looking through for right now. We're looking through to see why that may be, because we only do it sometimes, right? So if negative x has block.forms.door, no problem. And in which case so basically we're checking if our neighbor is a door, then we want to check the next neighbor after this one. So we're also pulling those. If next x has a door, all right, easy. I don't think the has function could be causing any problems because the has function is really just a shorthand for these bitwise comparisons. It's just form and form evaluates to form. So like, is this thing that we're checking for present in the block's actual list of forms? And then here we're going down, so we're checking neighbors, like is our positive x neighbors form and our negative x neighbors form. I messed around with parentheses here just to make sure that it wasn't an order of operations issue. Like just wanted to make sure we weren't doing like although I guess it wouldn't matter, huh? It literally doesn't matter what order we do this in because we're just anding all of it. It does matter a little bit what order we're doing this in. But I already checked this by trying to add a parentheses around the or. Because I don't even understand why I need these parentheses, the parentheses around this condition. But for some reason, writer complains if I don't have that, so we're just going to do it. And these are meant to capture some of the edge cases that would be invalid. And we aren't catching these. We aren't catching any of these. Frankly, these cases should be what does this for us. Blockbuffer.aabb.viewAbsolute times dot plus vector3i.left times 2. So yeah, this just checks our next neighbor. This checks if only one of... What if both have a door? Ah, that's this check. In which case this is a triple door. So this one, this is the same thing again, but for the Y position. So if positive Y.form and negative Y.form and block.forms.bulk. So if both of our neighbors are bulks, then we are by necessity a single door. Because bulks is our word for a wall. Just there you go. All right. So when we get down here, if door tile evaluates to default, we debug right line that we've got a default. So this is true, but only when we have those weird partial selections. So somewhere up here, so none of these are reading correctly, which means that I'm not understanding correctly how the bitwise operation thing works. Which is interesting. Oh, hold on, my green screen is being weird. There we go. We checked to see if we were getting caught by this function, because this is one of the more unhinged functions we have here. So we lay something out like this. We put a wall down like this. Oh, let's just do the whole thing. Go for that. Oops. Oh, we do want the output. It's interesting. So if we select either one of the doors specifically for a double door, or one of the walls adjacent to the door, we get this default problem. So, again, that means we're not checking. We're failing certain questions, like this, the else if posx.form or exclusive or negx.form evaluates to. Oh, here it is. Here it is. This is the logical check. I went right past it. We're not saying positive X form, exclusive or negative X form, and the thing that we're checking. This is it. This is where it is. This is where the logical comparison that's failing because of the selection stuff. And it doesn't fail when everything's selected because they cancel out during the exclusive or. Got him. We got him. That took an embarrassingly large amount of time to search for this, which is good because I was starting to lose faith in my ability to understand my code. Hey, Stubenhocker 1399, how's it going? How was your weekend? How was your week starting out here? All right, so we're going to say, and equal evaluates to, just the same thing again. Why is this failing? It's going. You should hunt for food. You've been working the entire weekend. You're having your weekend now. Ah, I see. An alternative weekend enjoyer. I've done that at various points in my life. And I kind of liked it. I liked being able to go grocery shopping and the laundromat and the park or the beach. I loved being able to do things when everyone else was working. That was really nice. Because normally if you want to do that, you have to, like, some people can do that, but they work the graveyard shift or the swing shift or whatever. Whereas, like, if you work at a normal time, just you happen to work during the weekend, and so you get some regular weekdays to do that stuff. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed having that during my life. Now I work Monday through Friday, but I still have some flexibility in my schedule, which is why I'm streaming to you now. Stubenhocker, not really a regular thing. You were working for 7 days last week. Ooh, I'm sorry. I misread the situation. Never mind. That's just all bad then. All right. So why isn't this working? So this should return a form. This should also return a form. And then I'm checking. Oh. So many parentheses have been harmed in the making of this check here. I should be able to get rid of these at least. No, but I need those. C# interprets bitwise operations in a really weird way. But I guess it's fine. All right, that should be it. We should be able to just take this, drop this down in the second part of this, and then just flip the axis. And that should resolve our invalid door problem. Oh, thank God I found that. I really was starting to like lose faith. I was like, do I not know how anything works? I'm like, I know there's got to be a logical comparison happening in here somewhere, but I couldn't find it, which just just wasn't reading very clearly. We should change this to say we should simplify the language of this. We should say something like, I should make this, instead of making it a block function, I should have it be a form function. Because right now add forms only returns a block. I kind of want it to return a form. And I actually don't want add forms to be a thing. I want to... Where do I want to put this? I want to add just form-specific... Instead of having it be block.forms, maybe I break the forms out into a separate thing, so then I can have some form functions that aren't dependent on the block. Having it nested under block is helpful, though. I don't know. I guess I'll just live with this kind of verbose comparison checking right now. Right now it's okay, but this is going to become unsustainable eventually once we have more and more forms interacting. All right, moment of truth. Let's see if this works. Chill Imp, hello. Right back at you. How's it going? Stubenhocker, yeah, for what you perceived as no good reason. Oh, for you working the weekend. But alas, the update made it out on Sunday. Well, you got that so-called critical update out. So, good for you. I mean, way to make yourself, like, you know, indispensable. And in this job market, that's a good thing to be, right? So we'll make a little test area here. We'll test our different doors. Okay, well, that's broken. Is triple door at least working?
But it's
no.
not a thing about making it accurate.
Okay, so we kind of broke something in our attempt to fix this.
Feel right.
Oh, that was a very game dev thing that was in this song. It's not about making it accurate. It's about, does it feel right? That's like game dev 101. All right, so why is this failing now that it's a bitwise comparison? Oh, because... No, this should work now. I'm just gonna add the parentheses back, even though I feel like I don't need them. I just don't trust.
If it's an accident, there's an error that feels good, then you leave it in. You know, you want those.
All right, hopefully that was the problem and I just got the order of operations wrong, because I admittedly don't totally know what the order of operations for bitwise operations are. Okay, that was it. That was it. I just don't know what the order of operations are. Clearly ANDs occur before XORs.
It's not a thing about making it accurate.
All right.
It's a thing about making it feel right.
So let's check these doors here. Can we select these doors without a problem? Can we select parts of the doors, more importantly? Yes, we can. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. We should probably have a thing, at least in play mode, if you select part of a multi-tile entity, it should just extend the selection to the whole entity. We don't need that implemented now or here because this is the construction time one. And like, while it's kind of invalid for you to ever try to move half a door, I'm gonna err on the side of maybe that is something I want to do. God, I want to deal with this ceiling thing, but I also acknowledge how, like, the way the ceiling hides the outline when it's in, which obviously goes away if we just do something like this. If we do a multi-Z selection, that just goes away then. But we don't always want to be doing a multi-Z selection, you know? One man's ceiling's another man's floor, I guess. And, you know, sometimes that matters. Well, I'm very pleased we figured this out. I had actually forgotten that that was what we were working on. Do I like the way these overlap? Yeah, I do, actually. That one's a little awkward, but I can live with it.
You know, if it's an accident that's an error that feels good, then you leave it in. You know, you want those.
Okay, we can check that off our to-do list. So that's cool. What's next? I actually didn't really come into the stream with a lot of ideas of what we were supposed to work on. I actually even forgot that this was the main thing we were hunting down. But I'm glad we got it. I can get rid of this debug thing, I think. I want to clean up a lot of this. There's a lot of this code I want to clean up, but I'm not doing it. I have it cleanly separated in that each layer is like self-contained. So if I don't like how the door layer works, at least it is constrained to just the door layer section of code, and it's nice and modular, and we can go fix it later. I mean, modular is maybe pushing it as far as an accurate description of this stuff. The cutaway code I also want to rework. I think I want to try a room-based one, but before we can do that, we need to really tighten up our flood fill. I don't even think we're running the flood fill systems right now, is my feeling about it. Let's check the main system. Are we even running the flood fill? We are. Why is that never doing anything? It feels like we're never running the flood fill system. But here it says that we are, so I don't know. We have a really simple task management function here. It's really primitive. But you know, start primitive and then work your way up from there. What I also really need to clean up is this node connection thing with the nodes that we actually want to render. We need to tighten that up and add like an ID system to it, so we're not hard coding numbers. So like a node can register with an ID and then let you know what, and then you can figure out, you know, which entity is mapped to it, and you can just map it back whenever their stuff updates. All right, but let's not worry about that right now. Let's just maybe walk through some of the auto tiling one more time. We'll clean up a few things. Hey, Ryson, how's it going? We figured out that bug we were having with the partial door selections. And we resolved it. How are you doing? And that's what we've done, and we did that in the first 30 minutes of the stream, so now I'm trying to think of what else to work on right now. It's one of those days where my brain just kind of feels a little empty. Streaming the dev has become to me kind of like going to the gym, where even if I don't really feel like doing it, I've got enough of a habit built up where I just do it anyway. But I do acknowledge that means I'm not always on my A game. And sometimes we're kind of just chilling. But that can be okay. So yeah, now partial selections of the double and triple doors no longer break things, which is good to see. So we can select part of a door. It's kind of nonsensical to select part of a door, as I was mentioning, but the system at least supports it. Which from an editing standpoint is something you might theoretically do. Like you might have a double door here and you grab one piece of it and you want to turn it, you want to change the direction of the door, so you just grab this piece, move it over here, and now the door is facing the other way. But that's like really stupid, and I don't think we're actually going to ever do anything like that, but it's at least supported now. It doesn't cause a graphical error when you do it, at least. So yeah, what I'm concerned about is maybe some of this multi-Z-layer selection stuff. I just want to, I'm not super pleased with the way that it draws the outlines right now. I also think I want to maybe change the way doors work in the cutaway system. I need to figure out what I want to do there. Because I don't want doors to just disappear when you're doing a cutaway. Maybe we need like a semi-transparent version of the door or something. Which we could do because it's a node. I mean, not this version, but the actual door is a node. Maybe we wait until we get to that point and then we handle that. Sorry, you're talking to me. What messages am I missing? You're doing well. You were thinking I could copy the map data to the clipboard, and when you hit Control V, have it load from the clipboard. That is exactly how copy paste works. I broke it, so let's go figure out how I broke it, because right now it doesn't work. But yeah, that's exactly how we wrote it. I kind of don't like it though. Okay, here's some errors I see, but is it okay? Okay, there's one set of outlines I don't like, but maybe I don't work on that right now. Maybe we work on the copy and paste. We work on something more significant. Oh, that's why that works like that. Yeah, I need to be aware of the cutaway if I want to make this auto tiler any more complicated. So maybe we don't worry about that right now. I suppose at that point I might as well just code the file access. Yeah, we do need to put some save and load stuff in here too. We probably need to pivot back in that direction. Because the auto tiling stuff is okay. But yeah, back in the tool system. So when we do copy, chill imp, you ask any tips on getting started, any tips on getting started with game dev. You have coding experience. You work as a full stack dev, but game dev feels a lot different and you're kind of stuck. Yeah, well, you should have some. Being a full stack dev, you at least probably have a better idea than most, but it is a very multidisciplinary task. What kind of stuff are you trying to get into? Are you trying to get into full solo dev where like you're doing the art and the sound and everything like that? Or are you just trying to come to grips with what maybe programming and gameplay programming and like design and stuff like that? Like I'd say the starting point should be based on what you are interested in doing. And then I might have some additional advice from there. But I want to know what your goals are. Captain Krabs, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate that. Hope you're having a good day. All right, so Ryson. So what we're doing when we do a copy or a cut. Ahoy. Ahoy there, Captain Krabs. How's it going? First time in the chat. Welcome in. So we have this copy to clipboard, and we pass in the selection, which is the AABB of like what we've actually selected. Oh, that's why this doesn't work anymore, because we've changed the way selections work. And we pass in a buffer. And then if we go down to copy to clipboard, we really are just going through grabbing the blocks. But the problem is we're grabbing the blocks in the bounds. And that is not exactly... Like, we do want to pass in a bounds. No, we don't. We want to scan the whole thing and only pull blocks that are selected. Because I've actually changed the way selection blocks work a little bit. We don't actually operate on a bounds. We kind of apply the selection tag to blocks, which is a little more work. Okay, so we need to rewrite this. Captain Krabs, you're in the indie dev group. You saw me live on there. Awesome, awesome. You're in a... Oh, you're part of my team. That's great. Do you stream? Oh, you do. Oh, you have a game called Captain Krabs. Captain Krabs: The Slimy Adventure. You're a 2D artist, DJ, author, and game dev. Wow, this is really cool. Let me check out your game here. Let me hit you with that follow. You're a new member to the group. Hey, Fusionist, how's it going? This is super cute. You released this at the end of last year? Nice. Is this your first Steam game? This is great. I don't have a game on Steam. Oh, this is your second game too. Pixel Tank. Oh, you are of the sea. This is super cool stuff. Your art is great. You do music as well? What engine are these made in? I don't see any info on your page to indicate that. Great trailer too for that. But your last game was this one. This is super cool. Yeah, you have a theme. You solo dev'd? Oh man, took forever. You did the art for Captain Krabs, but not Pixel Tank? You're not a pixel artist? Oh yeah, I see. This is not pixel art. This is like, what, like... Do you do this with vectors? Yeah, what engine is this stuff in? This is cool. So Chill Imp. It doesn't take much to do pixel art, Captain Krabs. I've just gotten started doing pixel art in the last year or two, and I do really low-res stuff, but I enjoy it a lot, more than I thought I would. Cool text visual effect. There you are, Rig. I wondered where you went. Chill Imp. So you want to get into gameplay programming and game design, as in systems, how X should work, etc. For example, an item inventory or storage system, especially since you're trying to learn things component-based where possible. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, you got some good After Effects stuff. So, then for you, if you're interested in 2D, if you're fine doing 2D games, I would definitely recommend getting into Godot. Godot has its own little scripting language. Why is this full screened? There we go. It's got a really intuitive, it has a sort of component-based architecture using the nodes and the scenes. Because a scene is a node, is a scene, is a node. It's got a really interesting structure for laying this stuff out. And you can kind of do a very interesting process in the way you build stuff out. I don't know. But I also understand maybe wanting to do something a little more custom. Like what I'm doing, all my simulation stuff isn't even in the engine. It's kind of this separate .NET solution I have. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's two different kinds of people who want to learn how to play, or there's two different approaches that people kind of follow to learn how to make games. There's the just do tutorials, which is kind of how you end up getting stuck in tutorial hell, I feel. And then there's the like, I have a project I want to make, and you just bite off individual chunks of that project, and you're like, well, I don't know how to do this, so let me start with this, and I don't know how to do that one, let me start with that. I feel like that might be better for you if you're this full stack dev and you're used to kind of taking on the whole thing. I think that might be kind of cool. Captain Krabs, yeah, you love 2D. Godot is the one you're looking into. You're not much of a coder. You're more of an artist normally. Okay. Did you make your game in Godot, Captain Crab? Is this Godot? If so, if you did this with like hardly any code, or you said you're not much of a coder. You said you solo dev'd this, which is incredible. Is this like Game Maker or Godot? It's Pixel Game Maker, which is a no-code, node-based system. Game Maker or something else called Pixel Game Maker? Let me see. Pixel Game Maker MV, something like that. I feel like I've heard of this. Cool. I don't know if that's what you used, but this stuff's cool. It's made by the RPG Maker team. Yeah. Okay, so I think it is that Pixel Game Maker. Interesting. Cool. Yeah, I would recommend Godot if you want to move into something a little more... Not a well-known engine for sure. Yeah. I've heard people talk about it. Okay, so we need to change our copy to clipboard function. Right now, it just takes a bounds, and I don't think we're actually... I think it stopped working because we don't actually use this. Problem is we need a bounds for the place blocks in, but that's fine because we can just get a bounds. Like, we could get a bounds somewhere. But to actually copy to the clipboard, we don't want this thing. Let me see. Maybe we can build out this selection. This AABB selection, because that would at least help us get started. Let me see how I'm building this clipboard. Oh, we're just filling okay, let's try a couple things here. Let's try the simplest thing first, which would just be to make sure we're managing this selection, AABB. So down here, what is this? Hover, else. Bounds, game.input.selection.move. Okay, I added some new function to my AABBs here. Falling for you. And, so, South tab, G, thank you for the follow. Thank you both for the follow. Chill Imp, 2D is fine. You want to get a grasp of it? Do you have any resource recommendations, post series, links, etc.? Yeah, sure. So I have not followed this, but Bracky's recently came back. Bracky's is like was like a huge Unity tutorial writer, and they've recently gotten into Godot. I would definitely check out their stuff. Just as far as a general, they come highly recommended for just getting into Godot, like just familiarizing yourself. There's also a lot of stuff in the docs. So the docs itself has, I don't know about you, but I like just reading docs. Like when I want to learn an API or I want to learn how an engine works, I just read the whole docs. That doesn't work for everyone, but the docs for Godot are quite good. And there's a getting started section specifically, and that has a 2D game tutorial and a 3D game tutorial in the getting started sections. So there's a lot of good stuff there if you want to like build stuff incrementally and you don't necessarily want to follow along with the video. You'd rather kind of just follow along with the instructions. But this is Godot specific. If you're interested in a different engine, you know. But I'd say Godot is a good one to learn. I mean, you could always learn Game Maker or Unity or Unreal or whatever, but I'm kind of unapologetically a Game Maker or a Godot fan here. And I'll actually be in Godotcon at Godotcon Boston next week if anyone's there. Be cool to hang out. All right, what was I looking at? AABB.move. AABB.move. Minimum plus coords, maximum plus coords. Okay, that's easy. It could be theoretically moved off screen, I guess, but that's fine. I feel like we're checking for that somewhere. What we really want to make sure is we're managing this game.input.selection. I don't think we're currently updating it. Yeah, it's not even present in this select area. And it could be quite easily. So let's grab, so when we're setting this up here, so right now we're managing a projection. I don't know what the projection is for. Easiest thing to do is to just rebuild this every frame. So instead of doing this stuff, which I'm not sure what we want to do there, what we want to do here instead is something like game.input.selection equals, or maybe we say dot resize. What happens when I say resize? And what happens when I say resize and I pass in a single vector 3i? Fusionist, yeah, the Godot docs are nice. They're all integrated to the editor too. Oh yeah, I love that. I do love that. Chill Imp, any engine will do, you think? You didn't really choose one yet? Yeah, no worries. We have a Discord. It's full of Godot devs and such. If you, there's like troubleshooting channels and stuff. I'm always happy to help beginners. I'm by no means like some great expert. Ryson. You asked me back when you were on YouTube. Am I going to have it default to bounding the whole map, or are you going to use the selection feature you just built out? Oh, for the copy paste, it'll be based on the selection feature. But the way the selection feature works now is it doesn't select the whole area, but it does. It's like click drag. So it will look at all blocks within an area, and it will select blocks that aren't empty. So that may or may not be a problem for this purpose. But I did that just so what we were running into before is like you would select this area, but there wouldn't be any blocks in that selection, in parts of the selection. And then when you placed a block within there, it would be already selected. And just for whatever reason, that's not how I want it to work. I don't want you to be able to select empty blocks. I want you to only be able to select blocks that have something in it. And so that should be fine. The only problem is that it might copy the empty block over, and that's what I want to avoid. Like if you're copy and pasting and there are empty blocks in the copy paste, I don't really want, maybe I do actually. I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether I want the blank block to come over or not. All right, so when I resize and I pass a single set of coordinates, it tries to update the min and the max with those coordinates. Okay, so resize, actually all resize can possibly do is expand. I should rename resize to like expand or something like that, because it will never cause an AABB to shrink. I have a shrink function. I should also have like an expand function of some kind. Or it's like add. It's some kind of additive resize. It's not just like a it's not just a full functioned resize, and I should reflect that in the code. Oh, we have someone that we can ban over on Twitch. I love this. This is always one of my favorite. This is a hard name to type though. All right, manicured cackles 2B9KRF4H. This is what you can do with your cheap viewers. Eat photon. Blast them. Got him. All right, so instead of resize, what we probably want to do... What do we do in place when we're managing this stuff? So we probably should wait until we do the bounds clamp. We need to clamp the bounds. We should do the same thing here. So, right, but for the initial part, we can just say... I'm not using these globals very well, these game.input globals. I'm like I've set a bunch of them and now I'm like not using them, and like, but I'm still maintaining them, and like I need to be a little more, I need to scrutinize these a little more. So game input selection is gonna be a new AABB.coords. That's fine. And then what we're gonna do, so we're always anchored to coords. So I feel like the easiest thing to do would be to just... What we're doing here is we're just saying... Oh, we're defining the bounds here. I can actually... There's a shortcut here, isn't there? So bounds, bounds.clamp, game.input.selection equals bounds. I'm going to remove all this language about change bounds and projection and stuff like that. I'm not using these in this context, and I don't want to set them if I'm not using them. So let's see how this works. This may fail radically, or this may just work. And that's where we like to live. Somewhere in between. All right, so now if I do this, and I do this, and I Control C, or I Control X. Okay, so Control X removed it, but the hover is not working. It's not showing me. Oh, and in fact, we got an unrecognized incoming block type. Which incoming block failed? Form equals deck select. I need to change the way that this draws itself out. Okay, that's unfortunate. So this doesn't recognize... I need to switch this merge block system away from this logical comparison. It's never going to work very well. All right, first thing, let's change the way this goes into a string. Oh, I can't change that. I mean, I can change that, I just don't want to. Yeah, that's fine. We got ads coming up. No problem, though. We're chilling. Perfectly balanced as all things should be. Exactly. Yeah, I'm not pleased with the way we've set this up because this is just gonna be upset with us. We need to be able to ignore select. How should I structure this if not a switch statement? Should I really... Should I just do like a conditional chain so that I can have bitwise comparisons? Because the way a switch statement works, I don't think I can like finagle a switch statement into using some kind of bitwise comparison. Honestly, what we really want is to avoid having a crazy unlimited series of merge block conditionals governing the way they behave, the way they interact with each other. Because the way I would need to do this would be I'd need to say or. So block.forms.door or block.forms.door and block.forms.select. I don't want to do that. All right, how would I write this otherwise? So otherwise I could say if incoming... Because we also can't do has. We would need like an exact... We could do if incoming.has... Well, also, yeah, we don't want has. Maybe we do want has. Is has exact? Oh, yeah, has versus has any. So has is exact. We should honestly rewrite has to be has all. Because... Oh, no, it's not has all, is it? Form and... Oh, no, it is. So whatever forms you pass through here, if it doesn't have that form exactly... Not exactly, but if it doesn't have all of that form... Oh, shoot, this isn't going to work, right? I kind of do want a logical comparison. Hey, Diginanigans. Briefly saying hi. YouTube auto-dumped you onto the stream about half an hour ago. Just busy with work. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, YouTube, for auto-recommending the stream to you as just somewhere you should be. Appreciate that. Appreciate you not navigating away either. How's it going, Diginanigans? Sounds like you're busy, but I hope you had a good weekend. So, has is different than has exactly. I want like a has exactly. So we have a has. I should call this has all. No, actually, that's fine. I don't need a has all. Has any is just weird because that's just how that works. We don't need a has all. What we do need, though, is a public bool. We need like a has exactly. Actually, it's almost like is exactly. Oh, can I do it like this then? Oh, is exactly is weird. Because the reason I need to reconstruct this is I need to be able to basically... I basically need to treat the select flag as if it doesn't matter. Oh, there's a way we could do this. There's a way we could do this and still retain the logical comparisons here. We could say return incoming.form We could say return incoming dot remove forms block dot forms dot select. I do not like this solution, but it would work now for now. So we could just remove the select. And then if there are forms that we don't want to include in the comparison, we can just get rid of them. And for now, this is acceptable. We should do the same thing with arrays. Although, we're actually considering select in the erase function a lot. So if the incoming form... Oh, yeah, we should keep it like this. Wait, incoming form should never have select in it. Oh, no, it will. It will. Actually, we can maybe resolve this somewhere else. Let me see if I could resolve this somewhere else. I think I want to resolve this at the copy state. I think I want to say something like, when we're copying... Diginanigans, you're doing good. Likely you'll mostly just be lurking the stream today, but you're here. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. We figured out all the bugs, or we figured out the bug we were working on last week, and now we're working on getting the copy-paste functionality to work. I kind of want something else other than copy-paste. Like, obviously I want copy-paste to work because it provides certain utility that you might not otherwise have. Like, I want copy-paste, but instead of cut, I kind of want to just be able to click and drag. I want to be able to click and drag stuff around. I would like that. I think that might be a little bit of effort to get that to work. And maybe it's better to just have copy and cut as keyboard shortcuts instead of doing like a click drag thing. But that's really what I want. Because if I want to move a room, I just want to be able to select it, click it, and then drag it over to where I want it to be. I also want to be able to save selections to the palette. Because right now we're just saving them to the clipboard. But I would like to be able to palletize constructions. Chill Imp, how long have I been coding? How long have I been coding in general? Coding... Counting now. About 15 years, something like that. Probably a little longer. But I'm not really a... Like, I didn't go to school for I'm a generalist, so I do a little of everything. I program, I do sound stuff, I do a little art. I'm really not like a professional programmer, so my code is like trash. But yeah, I started learning probably JavaScript in Unity, and then I switched to C#. And now I still like C#, which is why we're working in C#. I do quite a bit of JavaScript in my day job, though, I guess. So I do code professionally, but yeah, I'm not like some trained expert here. Do I still enjoy doing it? Or just do it because that's what you know? It's something that needs to be done. So I've always viewed code as like a means to an end. I know some people view code as like an end to itself. Like they love just the elegance of it. In the same way that someone might study and work on math just to like explore the elegance of a system or a dynamic. I don't view programming in that way. I don't love programming for its own sake. I've gotten used to it and I can employ it for a purpose. Same thing with art. Like I'm not a great artist, and I don't have the inclination or the impulse to just make art for its own sake. Like my partner is an artist, and she just can't help but draw. Like it's like a physical need to like express herself through drawing. I don't have that. You like that answer? Thank you. That makes me feel like I didn't. poorly explain it. Stubenhocker, click and drag is just cutting and pasting very fast for every position. Yeah, pretty much Stubenhocker. That is how I'm thinking about it. Click and drag is just a special case of cut and paste. And yeah, you're right. It's iterative because it's not waiting for you to hit the Control V. It's making the change permanent every. Ooh, that actually might be a problem. No, we can work around that. That's fine. That's actually totally fine. So where I think our current problem is in the hover system. The hover system. Oh yeah, here for copy to clipboard. What I wanted to do is I wanted to say blocks equals span. I want to say it's span, and I want to say dot remove forms block dot forms dot select. So I'm just gonna sanitize the copy by just removing the select from, because the way that I was going to get around having to have such a complex state when we're erasing or merging blocks is we're just switching on the incoming form, and the incoming form shouldn't have things like select on it because it's meaningless to have selected a block that you've copied into the clipboard. Like, that's insane. That's not something that you would ever want to do. If you copy something into the clipboard, you would want to remove certain flags like select. So that might make the copy a little less efficient, but it should be fine. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on the hover a little bit because I think the hover code, our hover code is very complicated. Hover is my word for the state when your mouse is just going around and you're not clicking anything, but you have something in your palette. You have a brush selected because you always have a brush selected by default. Actually, you just always have a brush selected when you're in edit mode. And so hover is the way we represent that, which is complicated because we don't really have a preview mask. It would be cool if we had like a preview mask. And actually, I might make this at some point so that we could have a way of storing what's in the hover layer separately from what's in the actual layer. But right now, it's just treated as one layer, like the permanent stuff versus what's actually just hovering. And we have a pretty complicated way of managing that, so that if you like hover past something, you restore what was previously there when you've moved on. But maybe that's not the best way to do that, and there's probably a better one, but I don't want to be working on this tool forever. So I'm trying to resist the urge. If we have a good system, I'm trying to resist the urge to like just keep reworking it and reworking it and reworking it, because we have a roadmap now. Like, we have a direction we want to go. Now, what's new in 1.8? I don't care. Leave me alone, Obsidian. We have a roadmap to our alpha MVP launch for this game, and it involves us accomplishing these 4 things, which is the tile block editor, which we're working on now, a shipboard simulation, which is like the play mode version of the tile block editor. So once you're done editing, you just switch to play mode, and now it'll do simulation like oxygen moving through the ship and like pathfinding for crew members so they can run around and stuff like that. So this is all the internal ship stuff, and I want to move on to this sooner than later, because we've been working on the tile block editor for a long time. And then eventually we want to move to a scenario editor, which is like the ships interacting with each other in a battlefield where the ships can fight or interact more specifically. But we need to move on. We need to not just be working on the tile block editor forever. So I need to scrutinize what I'm spending my time on a little more closely when we're talking about this stuff. All right, so the hover stuff. If the clipboard is empty, we behave like this. If the clipboard is not empty, bounds game.input selection.move. Okay, so we're moving the input selection. This feels very wrong. This is not what we want to do, I don't think. Place blocks in clipboard, game.input.selection. I don't think this is how we want to do it. But maybe it's okay, actually, because... Maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay that we do this. I don't know what all this stuff is down here. If hidden blocks.try get value, according to outblock value. Value is empty. Oh, this is us trying to restore things. Oh, this... I know why we have this here. I know why we have this here. Okay, we're going to ignore that. Hydrate from the chill imp. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. I do forget. Fusionist, you're going to miss the editor. It's not going anywhere. But we're going to be using it. We're going to be using it. That's the point. I just want to be done working on it for a while. It doesn't need to be perfect. We can always go back and improve it. I just feel like I do want to put it down and then not have to pick it up very often, which is why I do want to push it to a certain level of quality. Just because context switching is so expensive, especially in programming. I don't want to be picking up and putting this down all the time. I want to get it to a point where we're reasonably happy with it, and then we can move on to something else and not go back to it every other week because there's like a small issue, which will probably happen to some extent, but I don't want to do it. Stubenhocker, SS13, like atmosphere simulation. I don't know what SS13. Oh, simulate. Maybe. Yeah, so like we're making an FTL style game, right? So you're going to need to track things like oxygen moving through rooms. So like what if you open an airlock? The oxygen needs to move out of any room, you know, that's exposed to the airlock. Space Station 13. Okay, what is that? I must know. I haven't heard of this. Oh, it's a video game. How have I not played this? Oh, this looks cool. But yeah, I reckon it's probably what you're talking about. Oh, this is cute. When is this from? Oh, it's like new. This is like brand new. Oh, we got a bit of a competition here. I like it. It's top down, which is smart. Doing what we're doing isometrically with multiple layers is making this way more complicated than it needs to be. This is cool. In the not-too-distant future, crew members aboard space stations owned by corporations work tirelessly to keep the lights on. Just doing their job isn't enough. They must also fight to stay alive in the harsh environment of space and survive the dangers that lurk in the darkness. Tell your own story in the worlds of Space Station 13, a multiplayer sandbox simulation bristling with features. Developed for over 18 years with over 1,000 contributors, the world of SS13 is ever-changing. Oh, this is cool. How did I not know about this? I might have heard about this occasionally, but this is like open source. Oh, it looks like active development might have stopped. No, people are still working on it. Content. 2 months. This is cool. 10 people contributing. Super cool. Super, super cool. You love to see it. Well, that was fun. Thanks for telling me about that. There's a bunch of forks as well. Ah, that makes sense, Steuben. There's a fairly new remake, though. You have, in fact, told me about it before, Fusionist? Well, egg on my face. It's an open source game for which there are multiple active and semi-independent branches with their own servers and communities each, plus remakes above all of this. That's cool. I'm just looking at... Oh, that was just the website repo? Why would they link that? Why wouldn't they just link the project? Yeah, I was a little confused by that, but whatever. All right, let me see if I can find the actual repo. They have a bunch of different projects. Oh, yeah, I was looking at the website. Oops. This is cool. This is cool. The fact that this is multiplayer is also pretty snazzy. Well, that's a great distraction. Yeah, but yeah, you're on the right track as far as like you're thinking about like atmospheric simulation. We're also gonna have power systems. So like I want the grid that the power conduits are on like to matter. Like routing power around your ship should actually be a physical problem. Where like if a wall gets blown out and that was where the power conduit to like a system was going, you're going to need to reroute power another way through the ship. And so there's going to be a little bit of a game there. The main activities when you're looking inside your ship is going to be like, where are my crew members going? And like, how is power being routed through the ship? Fusionist, you used to play on B Station, which is a sort of newbie-friendly place. Play the game, you have to read the wiki and sink dozens of hours into learning mechanics. Nice. That's hardcore. TG Station is one of them. Oh, I did see that. If you remember correctly, SS-13 started as just an atmosphere simulator. That's funny. That's a weird way to start. All right, let's test this. I don't remember what we're testing, but we're testing how this works now. So if I grab this, and I grab this here, and I cut this, we can no longer see it. What if I paste it, though? Okay, it's just gone. The selection remains. That's unfortunate. Oh, but it won't be drawn. Oh, interesting. Maybe I do want the selection to travel with you. Maybe it should travel with you. Because, like, if you select a block and you click, drag it, and move it, you don't want your selection to remain where you were. You'd want your selection to follow along the movement. I'm gonna have to think about that. That's weird. That's a little weird to think about. Okay, so there's two things that aren't working. The paste isn't working and the hover isn't working. Do we assign... Oh, we do move the selection. That's unfortunate. So when we're doing a hover, do we care about the selection? No, we're moving the selection. Vector 3i offset chords minus selection anchor. Bounds is game.input.selection move. Offset. Place blocks in clipboard. Game.input.selection. Offset buffer. Reveal inactive blocks. I don't quite understand why this wouldn't work. So, like, what if I do a copy? Hey, Matthew Sparks, how's it going? It's going good. It's going good. We're working on trying to... We broke... The way we changed the selection method broke our copy-paste stuff, so we're just trying to fix it here. Doesn't seem to be doing anything really. And in fact, this selection thing should be moving, but it doesn't seem to be. Oh, no, I guess we can't tell if it's moving or not. Oh, should we be doing this differently? Maybe we should be. I would like to get the hover working. I don't really care about the placement, but I want the hover to be working here. So let's focus on that. Presuming that we're getting the copy to clipboard is working at all. So copy to clipboard, we get the span, we get the bounds, we get the index. We say blocks index plus plus equals span buffer dot get index dot remove forms block dot forms dot select. Return blocks. All right, so the hover is our block preview thing. Oh, clipboard empty. Am I actually setting this correctly? Copy to clipboard. I don't know where I put the copy to clipboard code. The hell is it? Is it way at the bottom? Yeah, it is. Okay. Okay, we don't do it there. We need to do it here somewhere. Clipboard empty is false. Clipboard empty is false. Active blocks dot clear, hidden blocks dot clear. Erase blocks in. Oh, that's for cut, right? Place blocks in. Where's my selection anchor? Interesting. Let's start with copy. And then what we're doing here, we're setting up the projection. Clipboard empty, so that's not the case. We want this else. Place blocks in clipboard, game done input selection. Offset. So there's all these offsets we're managing. I'm confident that that's all right. What I'm not confident is this game input.selection getting moved around all the time. Reveal inactive blocks. All right, I'm gonna turn a little debugger on and we're gonna try to see what's going on here. What I should do is use my selection stuff to do like a kind of debug drawing. Like we have an overlay, we might as well have like a debug draw overlay. So we've already got the overlay. That's something that would be worth setting up. Oh, Chill Imp, thank you for the follow. You gotta go now. Dropped a follow. You like the vibes here? Thank you again for your suggestion. No, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, we're here Tuesday through Saturday most weeks. So, yeah, please come. Please, I hope to see you again soon. Have a great rest of your day. Oh, I need to do this not like this. I need to do this in the editor. All right. So we're going to grab this. We're going to copy. Then we're going to try this. Okay, so we are not ever hitting this conditional. That is interesting. Okay, well, I mean, that explains why it's not working. Oh, okay, no, it is working. Oh, the debug right line doesn't show up. I feel like it normally shows up. Oh, so this is like way outside of bounds. This is like wildly outside of bounds. Why is that the case? That's why we're not seeing this. Can I get it to be within bounds? Okay, there we go. Okay, so the offset is like very wrong. What if I do like a... Oh, the whole... Oh, everything is off. The whole cursor coordinate offset is wrong. That's interesting. Is that just... Okay, so that's true. That's not true now. And I do this. I select that. And then I hit copy. Okay, and now there's a selection offset that's like insane. Okay, okay. I can work with this. I need to try to understand why that's happening. Part of that is cursor coords are being messed up somehow. Selection anchor. Am I not setting the selection anchor correctly? That is very possible. Oh, I'm not setting it at all. Oh, so we have a different anchor. What if I just forget about the selection anchor? What if I just make this anchor chords? I don't know what the selection... I don't know why I felt like I needed to have a separate anchor for the selection. Because selecting blocks and placing blocks are like mutually exclusive. Like you can't ever do both at the same time. Like the system will not let you do that. So I don't know why I felt like I needed separate ones. So now if I copy this... Okay, now it mostly works. Oh, because the selection anchor is not the same as the anchor. That's why. I understand. So here's... And now if I paste... All right, we did it. Okay. I don't know if I totally agree with the selection thing staying here, but maybe that's correct. And then if I do a cut, Control X, now we pull it out, and now it's not there anymore. The selection remained, though. That is a problem. That needs to be fixed. How do I fix that? That should be relatively easy. So when we do a paste, what are we doing? Oh my God. This is the paste. Hidden blocks.clear, active blocks.clear. This is not sufficient as far as cleanup goes. That's because we're previewing the paste, and then the paste instruction is just like the formalization of it. So we should run at least unselect. We should at least run this. We should run unselect, deselect blocks. What are the instructions for that? Bounds. So here's the problem. We've been moving around the selection bounds. And now I want to use it again to undo. Oh, I could just pass in buffer.aabb buffer. That's a kind of a hack, but would work. Let's actually put that at the top. All right, so now we do this. We grab a chunk. We copy. We paste. Okay, and yeah, this is no longer selected. So here we grab this. We cut. The selection anchor thing is weird. Yeah, I'm not sure about this whole leaving the selection box here while we're moving it. I think I want to undo that. In fact, during this state, nothing is selected, essentially. And then I paste. And then now this selection is gone. Okay, so I just need to deal with that awkward in between. I can actually put that at the end. What I could do, I can say this. I can actually make this part of the cleanup on that, because we have an end step for the select, and right now we do literally nothing with it. I actually am not sure whether we want to register a select in the undo redo system logs. I think that's not true. Hey, Samuel1998, how's it going? Welcome to YouTube. Welcome to the YouTube channel here. We're live streaming development of our FTL-like. This is isometric 3D FTL-like game. We're playing around with a lot of tile map stuff to get this layered 2D look that we want. All right, so here what we're going to do is we're going to say deselect blocks. We're going to pass in game.input.selection. And we're going to say the buffer. So this way, when the selection is... Oh, this is actually... No. We can't actually do that here. We have to do that during the copy or the cut. And we need to do it before we move the selection. So where's this selection anchor? So I need to define this selection anchor. I don't define it anywhere, so it's kind of curious where it's getting this information from. I guess I should figure that out. Selection anchor. There's 5 references to it. The 5th one must be an assignment. Oh, it's not. Okay, where are we ever assigning this? Wow, we are... Okay, that's definitely part of the problem. So, what is selection anchor meant to be compared to the actual anchor coords of the placement? I think selection anchor is meant to be a min. What we can do is let's just put it at the end. Let's try something out. So at the end, let's say selection anchor. I want it to be the maximum. So I want to say I kind of want it to be wherever the mouse is when you let up the thing. So maybe it's just the cursor. Let's start with game.input.cursor coords. So let's just say it's wherever the cursor was when the selection ends. And we'll start there. And then the other thing is we need to handle that deselect. So we're going to do that here in the cut or the copy, and we're going to do it before we move, before we call them any kind of move on the selection. So here. So let's actually say deselect blocks. Or actually, hold on. Oh, we could actually deselect them, then copy them. And then I don't need to have a special filter here. I don't need to remove the forms here. I like that. I like that better. If we make it an anticipatory step here. I don't love that it would be implied that we would need to do this. Like, I'd rather, if you have to deselect the blocks before you copy to clipboard, I would like it to be part of that. I would like that to be explicit. But for now, for testing purposes, we are going to just try this. So this should correctly unselect the area that I'm cutting or copying from at the same moment that we copy what's actually there to the clipboard. And because we've changed the selection anchor, I actually need to change that back somewhere, I think, in the hover. Because, yeah, we're not referencing that anymore. I think this anchor chords needs to be minus selection anchor. I think that's what it was. So selection anchor is going to be wherever the cursor was when the selection ended. And that way, when you copy and paste something, let's say you grab a block, a section of block, and you end the selection in the bottom right corner of that section of block. Well, then that way, when you're mousing around to paste it, it will be anchored to that bottom right corner, which is where your cursor was. And I think that is how you want the behavior to be. Very confident. Hey, Adagon with the hydrate. Thank you so much. How's it going? How's exams and stuff going? Exams finished. Congrats. That's great. You start full-time work in 2 days. Ooh. Okay. You've told me about how you do this kind of alternating schedule. Well, I hope it's fulfilling work. Hope it's something you're interested in doing. Okay, so if I do this, the anchor point should be here. Copy. It's approximate. It's not exact. I'll just paste that and try this again. Okay, that was better. What if I cut it? Okay, it follows me around. That is no longer part of the selected area. Okay, I think we got copy and paste and cut and paste down correctly. Oh, that was wrong. What is happening there? Oh, it's because, oh. I actually see what's happening there, and it's not good. Hover is misbehaving. All right, there's an edge case we need to handle. It's causing it to misbehave quite badly. Oh, it's not alternating anymore since you graduated uni. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Congratulations. Going to Godotcon in Boston next week. All right, so if I pasted, everything's fine. The thing that seems to be a problem is when I'm like if I'm here and I copy and I'm dragging around and then I do literally anything else. Like I do, if I try to select what I'm copying, I've just totally broken everything. So we need some kind of way of, knowing, okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Yeah, we need some kind of short circuit that prevents us from processing other input while we're in the middle of a copy and paste. Or we just need to be able to abandon the copy and paste if someone provides an alternative input. Maybe that's as simple as... Probably just need a check above the switch statement. You're boycotting the US. That's actually very reasonable of you. There needs to be a Godotcon Toronto. I actually don't disagree with that. I think that would be cool. Steuben, wow, you don't pay attention for a couple minutes and suddenly I got click and drag working. Click and drag is not working, unfortunately. What we have working is Control C and Control X. So we have, and Control V. So I can't click drag, which is what I would want. At the moment, all you can do is specify an area and then either copy it and paste it, or specify an area and cut it and paste it. Oh, that actually didn't work right. Cut. Why was that such a crazy anchor? Oh, right click works. Oh, so right click considers this. Oh, because it just considers this your active block. That's crazy. Huh. I didn't realize I set it up to work that way. So yeah, that's a problem. This whole, like, I could be in the middle of a copy paste and then I'm like, I've changed my mind, I want to do a selection. It just breaks everything. So we need a short circuit here. That's like, if you try to do anything else, like clear the clipboard. Or maybe don't clear the clipboard, but like you're in a different state now. We need to do something. We need to do something. What is that going to be, though? Come on, green screen. All right. Okay. So it's a little misleading the way I talk about this in terms of like a clipboard, because it doesn't work like a regular clipboard. Like if you're copying and then instead of pasting, you do something else. We need to stop that. Problem is that we display what's in the clipboard. So maybe thinking of it as the clipboard is wrong. Maybe it's not a clipboard. Maybe it's replaces your active block tool. And so if you go to do anything else, your active block tool Maybe it remains your active block tool, but it doesn't matter because we're not hovering anymore. I know what we can do. There's actually something pretty straightforward we can do. We can't say clipboard empty though, but we could do this. We could reset the hidden blocks and the active blocks when we begin a selection. Let's try that. Let's try that and see if that does what we want. Just as an experiment here. So if I'm doing this and I grab this and I copy it, now I've got this. But what if I start a selection? Ugh, now it lets me select it. Now we're really in the problem of we don't have a mask. We don't have like a. It's also affecting the clipboard. Oh, because this is our selected area. Actually, I don't know how it's doing that. We're changing the contents of the clipboard somehow, and it doesn't make sense exactly how. The contents of the clipboard should be static. They should not change. And yet they do. Oh, and in fact, a bunch of the selection stuff is sticking around. All right. Yeah, we really need to clean up the boundaries between these different actions, because this shit is getting kind of crazy. Yeah. There's also an offset happening. I see a small thing that's bothering me. I'm gonna try to fix the small thing because some of this stuff feels kind of big. Like managing the state changes. I probably should have more of a state system, because right now we're doing almost no state checks when we're processing input. The state of what we're doing should actually play a way more dominant role in the outcomes of things. Like if we're selecting or if we're placing or whatever. Right now there's no persistent understanding of what we're doing or what we just did. It's just, here's the input coming to us. Let's process it without any understanding of what input just came before. So I think that needs to change. I think there needs to be a more awareness of the state. So if I do this and then I cut, yeah, initially it's at this crazy offset and I don't understand why. And if I do this, I cut this. Yeah, so the initial time it tries to render it, there's this crazy offset. We need to fix that. Oh, because coords minus selection anchor is like something else. Why does place blocks in take a vector 3? What does that mean? What does it mean for that? So that's an offset. Why do we need an offset? Why did I write this way? Couldn't we just put it in the bounds? Shouldn't we just only go by the bounds? So what are we doing here? And why are we doing it like this? So we have our blocks. We have our bounds. So we know what blocks we want to place. We have the bounds, which is that we know where we want to place it. Then we have this offset. So why? So we go through. So here are all the coordinates and the bounds. The bounds Oh, we do need to get all the blocks from... What we say is integer index. So for each coordinate in the bounds, so this is each destination coordinate. Each index in the bounds, we get an index based on this coordinate. So as long as bounds is the same size as blocks, that should be fine. New coords equals coords plus offset. If not buffer.aabb encloses new coords, continue. Integer new index, new coord, new index, buffer.get index, new coords. Blocks index dot form. Oh, well, whatever. Span new index equals block. Where do we get block from? Oh, it's a try get? Oh, no. This is some hidden block bullshit. That's fine. So span new index equals merge block. Span new index block index. It's not a new index, though. I don't feel like I totally understand why this is the way that it is. We should be getting... The new index is coming from buffer.getIndex new coords. That is correct. So we're going to say, instead we're going to rewrite this to be a little clearer. We're going to try... Actually, we're going to make a version of this function that doesn't have the offset. Because my understanding is we don't need that. We should be able to do this with just the bounds. Oh, maybe we... Because getIndex is internal. So as long as bounds is the same size as blocks, it doesn't matter what the coordinates of bounds are. It will still map to the same indexes. Let me double check that. So getIndex for any set of coordinates if coords is less than minimum or coords is greater than maximum. Yeah, that's fine. Internal coords. So yeah, we return the internal coordinates. Okay, yeah, so I don't understand why we have this concept of an offset. I'm just going to get rid of it. So we're going to call this the source index. Source index is bounds.getIndex. If not buffer.aabb.encloses, we can just say coords. Integer destination index. We actually don't need to put this here. We can actually put both of these here. So it's buffer.getIndex coords. Source index is bounds.getIndex.coords. And then so blocks source index dot form. Hidden blocks dot try get value. Since we're moving this boundary around all the time, yeah, I don't think we need to do this. I'm very confident that past me thought they had a good reason to do this. But at the same time, past me is often misguided. Span is destination index. Destination index, destination index, destination index. All right, let's see what this does. This might cause huge problems, but let's see. And we're going to be changing this here. We're going to get rid of the offset. So we're already moving the AABB by the offset. So maybe that's the problem, is there's this double offset happening. Where we're moving the AAB by the offset, and then we're still trying to use the offset. That's possible. right, ads are coming on the Twitch side, but we'll keep working. I don't really have anything to do. Got my water. All right, so we're gonna grab this. We're gonna copy it. Okay, so now things are not good. Okay, so something I did has caused problem. Okay, maybe that offset was crucial. I mean, I questioned the value of moving the game.input.selection. That didn't ever really make sense to me. Chords minus selection anchor is correct, I think. Let's just hide the reveal inactive blocks section of the code here. Diginanigans, you're going to head out. Good luck with wrapping up the various copy, paste, and drag and drop stuff. Looks like it's all coming along very well. Yeah, it's going okay. Thank you a lot, Diginanigans. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks you for tuning in. Appreciate that. Okay, well, I definitely made everything worse. But what's interesting is that initial frame does not seem to be getting affected either way. So let's just revert here. This version. Then we can understand why this doesn't work. I mean, this all works great. The problem is that when I do this, that shouldn't happen, for one thing. Oh, am I still in this state because I didn't control V? Oh no, I'm just in like a bad state now. Interesting. Oh, did I mess something else up? Oh, is it this? Is it putting this in here? Should we not have been doing that? All right. Copy. Yeah, the only thing that bothers me is that initial frame when the copy is in the wrong spot. I guess that's what I should really fix. So paste. Yeah, so that works correctly now. So what if I copy and now I try to do... Yeah, that's super busted. But that also shouldn't happen. Very strange what's going on here. Like, you shouldn't be able to alter this with selections. This shouldn't be... You shouldn't be able to change this stuff like this. Very strange that you can. Huh. Interesting problem, whatever this is. None of those are permanent changes is an interesting thing because they're being wiped out when we mouse over them, which tells me that they're in the their original state is being recorded in the hidden blocks dictionary. So these are just like illusions. Yeah, I'm gonna seriously consider doing this mask like I was saying, where we have like a preview mask. The only thing is we need to be able to combine the mask with the underlying state when we go to the auto tile. But I feel like having a separate mask for stuff that hasn't been committed yet would be really good, because it would mean you can't accidentally affect the underlying stuff when you're just messing around. Because right now everything is getting put into the same volume, block volume. I think it would be really good to have like a preview that for the purpose of the tile system is identical, but for the purpose of the tool system is separate. Just tuned back in. What in the world is going on here? I'm just looking at some edge cases that we run into. We've got copy and paste largely working. So we can grab a section, copy it, and then we can either paste it a bunch, which actually behaves quite poorly because you can do some stuff, or we can paste it once and we're done. Having the right click thing works. So there's a few problems. We also got the cut. Cut also works. You can also paste more than once or place just once. There's a few things that happen though. So like if we do a selection and we start a copy or cut or whatever, and then we go back to try to do a selection, you can copy this. You can copy the copy and then just start causing like all sorts of things to happen. So we need to add a bit more state awareness to the tool system so that it doesn't accidentally start trying to do things while it's in the middle of doing something else. But I think that's part of the problem is we need a little bit more stateliness, a little bit more state awareness when we're processing inputs. And we also need, I also want this mask I was describing, because right now this chunk of floor I'm passing around here is being affixed, albeit temporarily, to the actual like committed structure underlying it. And I think that needs to stop. I think we need to put this in a separate layer. And then we just need to reconcile the two layers before we send them to the auto tiler. I think those two things will solve all of those weird edge cases. DGG. Thank you for the follow. I like your name. It's hard to pronounce, but it's cool. How's it going? Ryson, is the clipboard the actual system keyboard so you could open Notepad and paste plain text into it? No, the clipboard isn't the actual clipboard. It's just it's actually not even a clipboard, really. What we're actually doing is we're kind of creating a temporary palette block, like a piece of the like a palette brush. It's really a brush. We're copying things into a brush, and the brush could normally be like a floor or a wall or a door. But when we do a copy, we copy everything that we've selected into the brush. So I should probably rethink the way I'm referring to that too. Hey, your name is basically, it's GG in Swedish. Oh, cool. So DEGG. Okay, thank you. Thank you for explaining. Welcome in. How are you doing? We're working on kind of our isometric FTL-like game. We're working on some tool functions that I really don't need, but that I desperately want. Like things like copy and paste and stuff. But we're running into the simplicity of our implementation is causing some problems. So yeah, we need to check, we need to manage the state of the tool system a little bit better. So that if we're in the middle of processing an argument input, even if a different input comes in, we don't just launch into that input without cleaning up what we've already got. So we need a bit of state management. And then, like I said, we also need to separate the previews, like the stuff that's just being shown what it would look like if you place the block, from the actual block. Because those are separate, or those are not separate right now. They're treated as the same thing. So like this, so this little block that is traveling around with me, this is being written directly into the thing and then removed. It's being added and removed as I travel around, and that is not good. I need a better way of doing that. We can have the underlying volume, and then what we could have is we could have a preview volume or an edit volume. And then when we go into the auto tiler, if we're in edit mode, we can actually read the construction yard, quote unquote, which is like the volume that we can build, along with the preview. And we can merge them to treat them as if they were. Or we can have basically this overlay overwrite what's underneath. And I think that will resolve a lot of issues. I'm just not 100%. I need to think about how I want to implement that. Same thing with the stateliness that we want to add to the inputs. I also don't love this first frame where I copy. It's at this crazy, oh, that worked that time. Why did it work that time? Paste. I grab this and I go over here. I copy. Oh, so interesting. Now let's just get this out of here. So if I do this and then I copy without moving the cursor. Aha. That's what causes the weird offset. So what happens when I don't move the cursor? Or more specifically, what happens when I do move the cursor? Interesting. The initial frame that it's drawing the clipboard. So if I do this and I move my cursor around and then I copy, it's anchored correctly. So regardless of, so if let's say I do this so that I'm anchored here in the top corner and I move my cursor around, then I copy. Now this thing is anchored to that top corner I was at when I ended the selection. That's what we want. Problem though is if I do this selection and then without moving I hit copy, the first frame it has an incorrect offset and then it goes back to being in the right spot. So I want to deal with that first frame problem. So there's something wrong and I'm correcting for it, but only when I move the mouse before copying after selection. So if it goes copy, or if it goes selection, move, mouse movement, then copy, it works. But if I just go straight from selection to copy or cut, there's an incorrect offset. So Gyro HD, this reminds you of Habbo Hotel. Habbo Hotel. Okay, yeah, isometric, pixel art. This is cute. We're doing way lower res pixel stuff. Like, this is the resolution we're going for. And also, hey, Gyro HD, welcome in. You like the graphic style? I appreciate that. Yeah, we're doing really low res isometric 3D stuff that we're faking with a ton of 2D layers. So we're working on our auto tiler and some tools for building out these pseudo 3D spaces. And we're fixing some bugs right now in the behavior. All right, so hover is doing something. So hover coords game.input.cursor coords is being updated. The projection is being updated. The out of bounds is being updated. If clipboard is empty, prior coords. Oh, is prior coords significant here? arg.select. Oh, we don't update prior coords when we're mid when we're mid select. We need to do that. Prior coords equals coords. That is probably the problem. In fact, do we always do this? Can I do this at the end of the switch statement instead? Oh no, because sometimes prior bounds is coords and sometimes prior bounds is bounds. Okay. Prior coords we could probably do that way. All right. So the selection anchor, we are only defining at the end, and that's just the current cursor coords. Okay. Okay. I think we got it. Gyro HD. How am I enjoying Godot? You use Unreal 5, but you were thinking about making a small single player in Godot. For 2D, I can't think of a better engine than Godot. To be fair, I haven't used a lot of Game Maker, but I'm coming from Unity originally, so Godot is very intuitive in that sense. There's some things I really like about Godot. One is that the coordinate system is pixel-based, so if we zoom in here, you can see each transform coordinate is a pixel. Like we're talking about individual pixels here. So if you move something, you move it 1 unit, you've also moved it 1 pixel. So it's like pixel perfect rendering, pixel perfect placement, pixel perfect physics and collisions. Like for 2D, that is so good. If you try, I don't know if you've ever tried to do this, but if you try to make a 2D game in Unity, and I bet Unreal as well, you really just have a 3D game that's pretending to be 2D. So you don't get that fundamentally 2D characteristic that you have here. I also really like Godot for a solo development. So if it's a small project that you're working on by yourself, I find it way more approachable than even something like Unity. Like it's way easier for me to be like, I need to get a little bit of art in here, or a little bit of sound, or a little bit of this or that. Like I find for solo development, it's really nice. If you're not used to programming, if you're not much of a programmer, maybe Game Maker is better because Game Maker has maybe some more no-code stuff. But I like Godot. 3D has improved a lot in Godot as well. That's true, Rig. I don't know if I would... I think the thing is, if you're making a 3D game, you actually have a meaningful choice to make. Like choosing between Godot versus Unity versus Unreal. Like there's more arguments in favor of one or the other. But yeah, I've done a 3D game in Godot and I like it. I didn't have a problem with it. It just doesn't stand out to me as much as being like the go-to engine for 3D. In the same way that it feels like it really is just the best thing you could possibly choose for 2D. All right, let's see if making sure we're setting the prior coordinates fixes this first frame problem I was looking at. So we grab this, select this. Oh, I moved the cursor. Grab this, select this, copy without moving the cursor. All right, got it. Paste that. Let's pick a weirder angle. So let's go back to front to back. Front to back. So here's an interesting thing. This I don't want. So what if I'm out here and I let go of the selection and then I copy? Okay, well now it's offset based on that. That's not exactly what I want, but how would we fix that? How would I get the anchor to be constrained to... I could sample the corners and see which corner is closer. If I wanted to guarantee that it was... I feel like this is fine. That's an edge case I don't want to worry about. Like if you do this thing where you like select an area, but for some reason you left your cursor out here and then you copy, it's going to be offset like quite a ways. I'm okay with that. That feels like degenerate use case that I don't really need to accommodate. Does cut work the same way? Okay, cut works the same way. Love to see it. Rig, for sure the competition for 3D engine is steeper and Godot has more ground when sticking to 2D games. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I still pick it for my 3D because I'm not going to go back to Unity. But I haven't used Unreal Engine in like 15 years plus. That was one of the first engines I tried to use and I was not good at it. So I haven't been back to Unreal. So I don't know. I mean, that's like the premier engine, right? Stubenhocker, you used Godot for your bachelor's paper to do omnidirectional stereographic rendering for VR applications or something along those lines. You never used it much before and after, but you still want to eventually. Well, that's pretty wild, honestly. That's pretty cool. What kind of degree was that for? That sounds like a pretty cool thing to do. To be doing in school. I know a lot of schools are finally switching over to Godot after being on Unity for so long, but I don't think it's coming quickly enough. Results are not guaranteed. All right, so all of the simple little issues I was running into are working. I think the next thing we really want to do is that thing I was talking about having a separate buffer for preview stuff, for stuff that's not being committed. I don't know if that exactly solves our problem, because before the auto tiler gets it, they're just going to be merged anyway, or the overlay will be placed over the underlying stuff. And we are tracking all the changes with the active blocks and the hidden blocks dictionaries, so we're able to clean everything up. I'm not sure how I want to proceed along that line, but that's fine. I don't think I need to figure it out today. Computer science. Rendering 3D Godot scenes into images so you can view them on mobile. Oh, cool. It's amazing how much you forgot about it. That's the way. That's cool. It's cool that you were able to do that. Oh, excuse me. I'm tired. I need lunch and maybe some more coffee or tea. All right, so so I said we needed to work on that. The other thing we need to work on is the stateliness of the tool system. Because right now this tool system is just taking in commands and it's not considering its own internal state. The question is, where do we want that stateliness to come into play? We could register a state with the game. Right now the game states are pretty high level. Like you would have game state edit, which is like we're in edit mode. We don't really have a state of saying like game state dot edit dot block placement or dot edit or a select or something like that. I guess the select state is pretty top level, and that would apply to either edit mode or play mode. And maybe we want to write the select state back, and then the input handler could observe that. We have some cross-domain concerns, which is like most of our simulation, all of our simulation code is in C#, but the rendering and the UI stuff is in GDScript. So there's a little bit of a back and forth. So like if we wanted the input handler is evaluating state. So we have this if game.state as string is equal to edit. So we have this. So we could also have a select state. And that actually might be good because being in the middle of a select probably would affect how the input handler interprets what you're doing. So if you were in the middle of a selection, it would ignore things like, what would it ignore? And like you couldn't start an interaction. The other thing is though, copy and paste. Being in the copy and paste state is a little different. Let me play with this a little more and try to understand what I think about the dynamic here. Stubenhocker, creating and viewing 360-degree screenshots with depth for mobile VR applications. That's really cool. It's really cool. AO7EXE, how's it going? Happy Tuesday to you. Okay, so if I'm here and I've made this little thing. I'm gonna mess around with some multi-level selection stuff just to make sure this works correctly. All right, so if I grab this, I guess I'd grab the whole thing. If I grab this, I copy it. All right, it works, but the cutaway system is misbehaving a little bit. So we can paste this down. And it's all pasted. It's just the cutaway system makes it a little misleading about what's happening. So that's something we want. Oh, maybe that's another argument for having a separate layer or having a separate volume that you're playing around with. Because then we can make it so that this sort of example, like this layer that we're working on when we're copying it around, maybe this is immune to the cutaway because it's in a different buffer. And so the cutaway doesn't consider this. That might not work right. It might work okay, but it might not work right. Pain and Suffering, AO7EXE, you just spent 7.5 hours automating a task. That is the way, though. Why manually do something that might take like an hour when you could spend 8 hours automating it? You know? You know. How would I make the overlay layer immune to the cutaway system? Because I want it to inform the auto tiler, but I don't necessarily want it to inform the cutaway system. Maybe the cutaway system needs to run earlier than the auto tiler does. Maybe the cutaway system needs to run in a different pass. Okay. That makes some sense to me. Oh, it would not take an hour manually? Okay. No, I'm sure it wouldn't. I'm sure you're making a good decision. That's just the joke, is like, I had this task that was going to take 2 hours, so I spent 2 days automating it. You had to scrape 994 itch.io pages for tags, categories, and genres because you have a massive unsorted collection. 1,000 itch pages is not a joke, so that's cool. That's cool. You're just trying to organize your collection of all the games that you've added. That's cool. All right, so maybe we don't mess with the state stuff right now as much. Maybe we do though. Yeah, because there's this case that I need to handle. Very, very much so. There's And it's this, you grab this, you do this, you copy something into the clipboard, and then you start selecting again. So you can select your own thing that you've copied, and it's just ruined. Everything is ruined. So can I just solve most of this problem? So what happens if I do this, copy it, and then I just start drawing? That also isn't what I want. All right, what happens if it's more of a room? Oh yeah, so I gotta discard this thing from my clipboard. Yeah, so painting something from your clipboard doesn't really work as it should either. Mainly because we're operating on the single active block. That's what I need to do. We need to move away from the single palette block pieces. These pieces, you need to be able to treat any collection of tiles as the block that you're building. I need to do that. That's something we need to do. Okay, I think we have some good stuff to work on this week. Everything's scraped now onto setting up the filtering selection from the CSV file. Cool. I need to get some lunch. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. I think I know what we're gonna work on tomorrow. I think it'll probably be managing the input stuff a little bit. And then maybe more deeply, I think if we can handle the input stuff, we can avoid the need to have multiple layers or volumes, like overlaid volumes for editing stuff. I'm going to try to avoid doing that because that would be a much bigger rewrite than just handling how we process inputs. I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're going to have the tool system be a little more aware of what it's in the middle of doing when it's processing an input each frame. Because right now it's just mostly unaware of what it was doing, and that is causing some problems where you have like something you need to copy and paste, and then you switch to doing something else at the last second, and the system gets a little messed up. But yeah, the other thing, the main bottleneck is this active block tool, which is defined as just a single block. And it needs to be potentially a volume of blocks, an arrangement of blocks, instead of just being a single block type. That's probably going to be a pretty decent refactor as well. But I think that's all good stuff. I think those are all good things that we can knock out this week. My little project reminds you of some old DOS games. Cool. Yeah, we're definitely leaning into like the fake retro stuff. Like we're doing a retro 2D art style to make a game that you definitely couldn't make back in the day. Like the amount of like crazy auto tiling stuff that we're doing with like rotating the screens and like zooming in and out and all this stuff is pretty tough to do with this sort of thing. But we have a pretty snazzy auto tiler, which is the kind of the thing we're working on right now. But yeah, I appreciate that. We'll be back tomorrow. We stream Tuesday through Saturday around the same time. A D-make. Yeah, there you go, Ryson. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. I'm going to try to stream every day this week because I ship out to Godotcon on Sunday morning. So I think we'll do... That shouldn't affect my streaming schedule. It just means I have a pretty busy week ahead of me here. Thanks, Rhiannon Journey. See you, Ryson. AO7EXE, it was nice to see you in here. Nice to meet you. Sorry you came in right at the end. Oh my god. Never mind. We're not ending. We're just getting started. Tune into Nerds coming in with a raid. How's it going, nerds? I was just saying we were gonna stop, but we're gonna keep going now. Hey, Fody, Tune into Nerds. Lahiro91921, Programmer Jeff, thank you for the follow. Lahiro, thank you for the follow. How's it going? Big raid. What are you working on? It's good, Fody. We've got this big selection layer that we've been working on that just kind of mostly works. We've been dealing with the consequences of the mostly. Tritz plays games. How's it going? Yeah, denied stream end. I know. Permission denied. That's fine. I just wanted to get an early lunch. I don't need an early lunch. We can hang out. We'll hang out. Let's hang out for another bit here. So, I'm Dave, aka Digital Iliad. We're working on an FTL-like game. Is that a pixel art Star Trek bridge? Yes. So we're making a game kind of like FTL Faster Than Light. We're doing it isometric 3D. I'm doing all of it. It's a solo dev project. So this is my art, programming, etc. We've been working largely on the tools that will let us build these rooms. So I'll show that off a bit here because it's kind of the only thing I can show off. Who needs food? Yeah, exactly. So we have this build area so we can start laying out a floor. I need to get more creative with these demos, honestly. So we've got like a little room. Let's keep going. Let's say it goes out here. Go down here. Go. Nskim N8R. Thank you for the follow. You got us to the 400. Congratulations to our 400th follower. So we can lay all this stuff out. I'm going to keep playing around here. So let's make it even bigger. So we've got this big area here. You can just keep drawing. Oh, I didn't want it to be there. So we can do all of this stuff. Oop, trim that a little. So we can lay out these 3D things. We have this big auto tiler that handles all of the translation for us. We can even auto tile things like doors.
Most
so we can say
illogical.
Single door, double door, triple door. Stream was good. You're just chipping away at getting some new Steam page screenshots. Can share a link if you'd like to check it out. Yeah, please. Please send me the link. We can also rotate the whole thing, so the auto tiler is very fast. The rotations are wrong. Don't worry about the way it kind of jumps around. The rotation is around the world origin and not the
Maximum
construction origin. That's something I need to fix. Thank you for the maximum warp. So yeah, we can just kind of keep building this stuff out
Logic
here.
was impeccable, Captain.
Build a little. So the idea is that you're going to be building these big spaceships here. And the gameplay might end up being a little more slower, a little more like RimWorld-y. As far as we have a really big build area, and the layer thing can go pretty far down. Like, this is just a few layers, but we're imagining like ships that have like, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 levels of decks in these big rooms and stuff. So we have this cutaway system that manages visibility. I think I need to rework this. I think I want to go back to like a room-based cutaway system. Original Star Trek channel redeems. Yeah, I did set that up. I need to get some more. I need to get some TNG in there. Maybe some TNG and some like maybe some Deep Space Nine. So yeah, all of this stuff kind of. So we're kind of all in on this tool set that lets us build out these 3D areas. Still not totally pleased with it. But what we've been working on lately, don't forget to push the Discord. Oh yeah, thank you, Ryson. We also have a Discord. Make it so. Yeah, exactly. Foul G. How's it going, Foul G? It's been a minute. So the thing we've been working on lately, which I want to show while people are still in here. 0G Scott, thank you for the follow. Reshi Gigas. Thank you for the follow. What we've been working on lately is a selection tool. So we can select volumes now. And it gives us this nice overlay. So we can select all this stuff. And then for this purpose, for the editor purpose, so I can select this whole thing. And then I can like, so it's a ton of stuff that's selected. And then I can cut it. And then I can move it over So I can move a bunch of stuff. I don't want to because that would be nonsense, but I can put it back. So that's kind of what we've been working on, is having a selection system that works correctly. It's kind of awesome, and it works better than I expected, such that I think we can just have a bunch of these. Like, we'll probably have an overlay for, like, atmospherics, so you can get that FTL. Like, the oxygen is leaving a room, so everything starts tinting red and stuff like that. I think we'll just be able to auto-tile overlays really easily. So that's exciting. Thank you, thank you. All right, so we got a Steam page here. Oh, a Steam screenshot. Oh, this is the screenshot of your Jay Ferret zombie thing. This is looking great. I love this. I mean, the fact that you just have one civilian and one zombie version of that one civilian is like a variety issue, but that's like the smallest thing. I assume you're doing this all from scratch again. This is looking great. This is really reminding me of like almost like a... Like, I've been looking at Crashlands 2 a lot. This is giving very much like Don't Starve and like Crashlands and like all that stuff. This is very cool. Love the UI. It's very tasteful. This guy is... The amount of chill that this guy has as he's surrounded by zombies. Like, max chill here. You want at least 3 or 4 if you can for the screenshot, maybe. Like 10 to 15 for the final game. Yeah, that's reasonable. Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where like all your environmental art looks so good and it has nice variety and stuff like that. But then people will spot that there's just one zombie and they'll be like, bleh. It's like, come on, guys. Reshi for short. Reshiram. All right, thank you, Reshi. Thank you for explaining. Cult of the Lamb. Yeah, that's a good comparison, Rig. This is really cool. I'm very excited for this project. I really enjoyed the dwarves project that you were working on. Did you shelve it? What happened to my dwarves? I know that you always intended this to be like your next big game, and the dwarf thing was like almost like a palate cleanser. Or like an experiment. But yeah, we're working on this. We've got a roadmap now. Nerds. We're trying to get past this first step in our alpha version roadmap, which is the tile block editor, and this is like literally the only thing we've been working on. We desperately need to move on to the simulation of the ship, which is still not gameplay. It would just be things like power distribution, atmospherics, pathfinding, things like that. I mean, I guess it is gameplay because you'll be able to run crew members around, but we've been on this tile block editor stage for so long that I'm just trying to wrap up the basic features that I need to be able to build the ships. There's some art stuff we need to work on as well. Like, I need to be able to integrate a wider range of art pieces. Sorry for the flashbang. So, like, instead of just having only square cubes, I need to get these kinds of shapes in. Like slopes and things like that. That's kind of the next graphical change we need to make. Get that stuff in there. I've been working on how to define 3D shapes so that you can get them into the system intelligently as 2D sprite atlases, but that's also something we're really working on. We've been working on a lot of animations for the few things that are nodes, like doors. Oops. We've been working on a bunch of stuff. We've got a bunch of different things going, but there's still so much to do. I'm just trying to give everyone the overview. I'm sure people need to go. I appreciate the raid. If you got a raid and run. You did shelve it. You need to rethink it in your head and get back to it at some point. That's totally fine. You will legit pop the champagne bottle when I move on from tiles. Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait till we move on from tiles to atmospheric and power distribution simulation and pathfinding. Like, it's gonna be a lot. But the tile editor really is the heart of it because it's the thing that defines the ship. And then the simulation is just things that you can do with the ship. So it really we're kind of layering it. Zero weed. Zero weighted. Not zero weed. Zero weighted. Hello. Welcome in. All right, what can we do for the moment? Yeah, God forbid there's zero weed ran in Journey. Truly apocalyptic. All right, we got 0G Scott and zero weighted. We are zeroed out. We are zeroed in here. I do need to foul G. I do need round cubes. I need some round sloped things. I haven't wanted to work on that, but I have learned how to draw circles in my diametric perspective, so I do want to start working on that. All right, so we've been having some problems with our copy and cut and our paste tools. It's causing some weird stuff. We're thinking about them not the way I want to think about them. So like here we have our pallet blocks. These are like the building blocks of the thing. You can't actually see the door because the door won't render unless it's in a valid position. So we can make these, we can draw out these shapes that are just individual blocks, and that's how we make things like rooms and stuff like that. But then the problem is when we make something like this, like a selection, and we copy it, it's not really treating it as one of these palette brushes. It's treating it a little differently than as a palette brush, and it's causing some problems. So like here I'm mid copy paste. But if I do something else, like if I start selecting, now I'm selecting the brush. Now I'm selecting the copy, and now I have broken everything. So there are some edge cases that we've got a problem with, and I have a few ideas on how to resolve it. The easiest thing to do is to just constrain the tool so that if it's in the middle of doing something, it won't then start to do something else. That's the simplest way to solve this. So we've been thinking about, because right now the way we process input is really rudimentary and has no awareness of state. So it's probably where we're gonna go. See ya. No time for bed. Yeah, thank you, nerds. Hopefully catch you later. Is that Godot? Yes, zero weighted. This is all Godot. We write all of our simulation code in C# here, kind of in this little .NET environment. And then we've still got Godot proper here, which we use for rendering and UI and stuff like that. So there was an argument to be made to be a little more aware of the process here at the input handler phase when we're recording the inputs. We have a cross-domain concern, which is that stuff goes from GDScript to C# and crosses like the managed, unmanaged kind of barrier. So we end up just sending simple things from GDScript to C#. Like we'll send these like string arrays for inputs, and then when we're coming back, when we're like updating the tile map layers, we'll just send back things like just a byte array, which GDScript can, which will be pinned, so we're not paying the marshalling cost, and then GDScript will just decode the packed byte array. So we're very careful about what we pass back and forth from the simulation layer back to the rendering and the UI layers. So it makes the solution that we want a little more complicated. Like adding more additional state to the input handler is a little tricky. Like right now, we're just evaluating whether we're in the edit state or the play state. So if we're in the edit state, we'll do a bunch of this. And if we're not, we won't. So I'm wondering if I want to add some more granular state here, or if I want to keep it constrained to within the tool system. I think I want to keep it within the tool system. I'm creating tools to manipulate planes. It's not planes, it's like whole volumes. So it's fake 3D using tile map layers. So it can be very stacked. So like we can just go and we can just go down. And this is all 3D. Well, not 3D, it's fake 3D, you know. So we've got this cube, and we can hollow it out. And then so now we have this 3D area, and we can go up and down. So we're manipulating like entire like cubic volumes of things. So I can take this and like cut it and then move it over here. But I'm gonna put it back because it belongs here. Cutaways are a little awkward. I kind of want to switch. I really like this cutaway. It's kind of fancy, but I kind of think we need to switch to a room-based cutaway system where it just cuts away up to the wall of the room and then stops. We can still have the fun stuff on the higher levels, like the kind of cascading kind of terraced thing we're doing, but I'm getting less and less pleased with the way we're currently handling the cutaway. Like those planes you drew as a kid in school, basic perspective. Yeah, we're doing dimetric perspective. It's not proper isometric, but it's more side on. But I kind of like that for me because it means when I'm drawing characters, like these characters, they're more side on. I don't really like the foreshortened, like squat little isometric character stuff that you normally see. And I'm not a very good drawer, so for me it's a lot easier if I can draw these little characters in a more side-on perspective. So like, where are our little crew members? So here's like a little crew member. It's a lot easier for me if these little duders are just in side-on 2D, and then they're in this kind of dimetric background. These are really bad. This is all programmer art. I'm hoping that in the next few years it will become better programmer art. Looks cool. You would like to have a program that does just that. Then you put a character in it and make it walk. Yeah. Godot doesn't really have good isometric auto tiling. It has some good auto tiling stuff for side on or top down, but I ended up just kind of needing to make my own isometric solution. And it's kind of crazy. Like each level has all these different layers. It has a layer per face. So we have like X, Y, and Z layers for the floors, and X, Y, and Z layers for the walls, and layers for the doors. But yeah, there's a lot going on here. All right. I need to become more proficient in pixel art. I don't disagree. Zero wasted. This was my first pixel art game. Or this game was my first attempt at making pixel art. I've since had a few jams where I've done pixel art. Like this is my latest one. So you just found out about Pixie.js. Oh, what's that?
What is this place?
That is a broken link. Oh no, that's probably just a, whatever you call it. I can't think of words. It's to make pixels. We use Sprite. I like Sprite. But here's like my last like little pixel art undertaking here. So we just did, it's really not complicated, but I've been practicing. This is like our last set. Little game about sailing ships. And moving ships using the wind. That looks better. Yeah, this is, it's got more of an environment going. And so I think as we increase the amount of stuff going on in the environment, my other pixel art will look better. But we're working on it. We're practicing all the time. We try to participate in a few game jams a year. Let's lightning strike this dude. We'll hang up. Oh yeah, there's a sea monster. I'm really proud of this little guy. I enjoyed making this little guy. Oh, he just ate a ship. Oh, that was not the spell I wanted to cast. Oops. Yeah, but we're practicing. Trying to improve every day here. All right. I think I'm gonna pass the raid on. I was gonna end minutes before nerds raided me. Thank you. So I think I'm gonna pay it forward here. And there's another great Godot dev who's also doing some stuff in isometric. And I think we're going to go hang out there. I'm going to pay it forward. We're going to rate it forward here to developer Ezra, who is a fellow indie game dev here. I really appreciate the raid. I really appreciate everyone hanging out. It was nice to tell everyone about my project. Timing was unfortunate a little bit, but that's life. But yeah, we stream every day from Tuesday through Saturday around this time. Obviously, we start a little earlier. Yo, David O, thank you for the follow. You a beginning dev? I did Unity hobbyist development for about 15 years. And then 2 years ago, I switched to Godot. And we've been in Godot 2 years, maybe a year and a half ago. A year and a half ago, I switched to Godot during the time of the great migration. And so I'm still getting the hang of Godot. Like I obviously said, I haven't done a lot of art and stuff. I was doing a lot more procedural programming-oriented things. But the raid is about to start. So I just want to say thank you for the raid again. Thank you all very much for watching. Fody, it was really nice seeing you. Yeah, go for Roblox. That's where the money is. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.